I liked reading Ayn Rand, The Romantic Manifesto, if you haven't.
I have not.
It's very good. I mean, it's a collection of essays about art and the purpose of art. And I didn't really understand the purpose of art until I read that book. So highly recommend it.
What's the main idea of the purpose of art?
So she kind of borrows an Aristotelian concept, which says that the purpose of art is to basically it's to portray the glory of man. And the idea is that when you consume a piece of art, it's supposed to show you a world where the values that you want to achieve have been achieved, or somebody struggled to achieve them, right? Something like that. It should be about values. It should be about somebody struggled to achieve them. And then after you see that work of art, after you consume it, you should feel motivated. That it should give you fuel to pursue those values in real life.
Interesting. And that was compelling to you, and you see art differently after hearing that?
Yeah, that was compelling me because I think a lot of art these days falls short of that standard. Like, like if we try to name some art that meets it, I think we'd be hard pressed. I can think of a couple of movies that meet that purpose, but not a whole lot. And well, maybe not all, but a lot of the very successful TV series or movies, they don't need it at all. Like they're kind of all about not needing it. Like let's say Breaking Bad, even though it's one of my favorite TV series and like universally hailed as one of the best, if not the best TV series of all time, right? And don't get me wrong, it's very entertaining. It's super fun to watch. But it's just not about that kind of thing. It's like all the characters basically are deeply flawed to the point they're like irredeemable basically, and they all suck. Like they're all terrible. I mean, maybe Jesse is kind of redeemable. I don't know, but like that's not the point of the story, right? The point of the story is not to fuel your real life ambitions. I guess the point of Breaking Bad or something like Breaking Bad is like just to entertain. Maybe I don't know.
I disagree. Like, yes, I think that's one point of art to inspire people, to realign people. But that's almost like the boring. I don't want to say the boring, but like I think the main point of art is like fun and beauty. Like, yes, part of it could be in terms of realigning you, but the majority of it is like art is just within in and of itself an expression of either some experience or something that's just supposed to make you laugh or something that's just like aesthetically itself.
Well, where'd you get this realignment idea from? Because it sounds like you're attributing that to me or Ayn Rand, but I didn't say anything about that.
Well, could you said it's supposed to like inspire you, supposed to inspire the best of what humans should be geared towards, right?
That's roughly right. But what is that? What does that have to do with alignment?
If it's supposed to like align you with values, that's supposed to like inspire you to do something that's kind of an alignment.
Like, I mean, I guess I don't know. It's not the word I would use. But have you seen any? Have you seen any movies? Let's say that met that inspired you, that give you fuel to pursue your values. What movies have you seen that did that?
I'd say like probably one of my favorite movies, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. That's one.
Without spoiling, without giving anything away, how does it, if that's possible, how does it fuel your values?
Like it's just sort of like it's good to be a human. Like he was a guy confused about what was real and what was not, and like he just kept insisting on doing the things that he wanted to do. Like he ended up figuring out that he's just gonna do what's best, even though he got fired. And he did like it was like one of those things where he didn't want to sacrifice the arts for the commercial type of thing. So like he didn't want to give up his integrity for what was immediate at the time.
Okay, that's cool.
But like there are also movies that made me laugh so hard, but they didn't really do anything for my values.
Right.
And they were great. They were great fun, but that was it. And I still
Yeah,
consider those
I don't
art.
think it. Like, I don't think it really matters what we call these things. We could we could call those things art and everything else not art, or we could call them like a certain kind of art. I don't think it really matters. It's just that the point of art is like, if you see some, like, there should be something in your life that you can go to that will give you fuel to pursue your values. And that's the role that Ayn Rand gives to art and society. You need some place you can like, you have, if you're fighting a battle, or you're going through some struggle, you need somewhere to retreat to recover,
Right.
refuel. And that place, whether we call it art or we can call it whatever, but what's important is that place exists.
Right. Okay. But what would you call the things that are just like, they don't necessarily inspire you, or they don't necessarily give you fuel to follow your to go
Entertainment.
Right, entertainment. So I guess, is entertainment art?
Some art is entertainment too, but not all entertainment is art, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, that lines up.
But again, the definitions maybe aren't all that important. They're
Yeah, I agree.
delineation.
Definitional games are kind of pointless. Zach, what's a beautiful art or work you've seen recently?
Well, I've been watching Pluribus.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen the last episode yet. I'm gonna see if I can watch it today.
My dad was telling me about it.
It's a good show. I think it's kind of slow right now, so I'm hoping it'll pick up steam.
Any other works?
I listen to a lot of music, so mostly classical music or jazz from like the 60s. So a bunch of Beethoven, that counts for me. I don't know how that fits into Ayn Rand's conception, because most of it is not narrative or about people.
That's a valid point, yeah, because it's just Beethoven. It's just music. It's just art. You just like it. And there's also its aesthetic value to it that isn't about inspiring people. So I guess it's just entertainment.
Yeah, I think there was an interview where somebody asked her, "Is music art?" and she said no.
I disagree.
Yeah, I mean, again, like, it's the question basically is, does music fulfill this purpose? Whether you call this art or not, doesn't matter.
Right.
But to her, music did not meet this purpose of inspiring man to fulfill to pursue his values.
Right. Well, instrumental, but certainly there could be some music, but I understand the point there. Yeah. There could be music with lyrics that have that function. Instrumental music or most music doesn't have that.
But I argue that's almost instrument. When you said instrument, it's like instrumentalist view of art. That it's a way of inspiring another person, or a way of refueling another person.
She would reject that because she takes the opposite view. If that's the impression I give you, that's my mistake, not hers. She would say that there's something about art, which is you consume the art for its own sake.
Right, but then it might leave you feeling sad or happy or inspired, or really any range of emotions if it's done for its own sake. Because like, to say that that's the point is to sort of make an objective out of art.
Well, you could watch a movie that leaves you disoriented, and then you can call that art, but it's just not the point. Again, like, it matters that there's a place where you can retreat to recover. And we don't really have much of that. I've said this before. There's sometimes there's statues like in front of court buildings. Like the statues of Lady Justice with the scales, and she's blind. This kind of art tells you that there's something about the artist's worldview that he wanted to share, that there's justice in the world, and that this is an ideal that you can aspire to, and that the court building that the statue is in front of represents that and tries to aspire to that. During the Renaissance, people built a lot of these statues for that reason. That I think they understood, if only implicitly, that was what they had to do, that was their role. Now, when you go to a museum, you see this modern art shit. It doesn't have any of that. You don't go to a museum and just look at a red square. You don't get that feeling, right? It doesn't refuel you. It's just kind of blah. It's the same with movies. I saw a movie the other day with Timothée Chalamet where he plays a ping pong player. It's called
Marty Supreme.
Marty Supreme. Did you see it, Zachary?
I haven't seen it yet, but I want to.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to spoil it, but
I don't mind spoilers if you do want to spoil it.
well, I'll just say that when I first saw the trailer starts with this like it's kind of inspiring in the sense that he has this passion. He wants to be the best ping pong player in the world, and fuck the naysayers. I'm gonna do it. I don't care what anybody says. I have enough confidence in myself. This is my calling. This is my purpose. This is what I have to do. Super inspiring stuff, right? But when you watch the movie, he's kind of irredeemable. He's a real prick. He's kind of an asshole. Like halfway through, I decided I didn't really care if he succeeds or not because he's not a good man. So like if he fails, that's fine by me. I don't care. So that's all I'll say.
So do you think, let's say with this evaluation of, or categorization rather, of works of art as being about inspiring a person, do you think that we should automatically expand that to beyond humans and just to inspire any universal explainer? How do you feel about?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Is there like a rating or like a scale? Like if it inspires one person, it has some amount of value, and if it inspires three people, it has a different higher value.
I don't know if Ayn Rand ever suggested a ranking like that, but could be useful. Sure. I mean, I mean, if you read reviews, like certain movies or books, like The Fountainhead has inspired many people, whereas, I don't know, Lolita hopefully has inspired nobody, but that's also not the purpose of Lolita, I think. Like if you have these books with these like irredeemably flawed characters, clearly the purpose is not to inspire people, unless the author is a psychopath or something, I don't know.
Is it about the purpose, like whether it is intended to inspire people or whether it does?
Probably both. Although what ultimately matters is whether it does in a positive sense. If an author sets out to inspire people and write a book, dedicated to the glory of man, but then he ends up writing Drek, then okay, he had noble intentions, but it's not gonna work. What do you think? Do you agree with her? Disagree? What do you think?
No, definitely. Well, I mean, I don't agree, but again, as you said earlier, it's just a matter of labels. So the thing that she's interested in with art is not what I'm interested in. Though I do think that it's a fine subsection of what I'm interested in. Like if there's a work of art that can reliably inspire somebody to do certain actions, I am interested in that. But that's not my main interest.
What is your main interest on?
So now I would think of it as knowledge based. So art is just the carrier of knowledge, and that knowledge could be in the form of behaviors, but it could also be in the form of other transformations, just like particular emotions, or just having stable configurations of any medium. So like stable visual configurations or stable auditory configurations that work across multiple works of art.
Okay, so maybe would it be fair to call that more like a constructor theoretic approach to art?
Yeah, directly inspired by that.
What does that tell you about art that you've learned? What have you learned by taking that approach?
So the idea for me is to look at art as the creation of new knowledge and the presentation of existing knowledge. And we can more easily look at works of art and categorize the ones that don't present any new knowledge or don't create any new knowledge. And we can also think in terms of looking at works of art and finding the knowledge within it, as opposed to just only paying attention to our feelings. We can look at the knowledge either embedded in it or whatever, that type of thing. So it's just a more knowledge focused look. So I might have similar ideas about a red circle in some instances, but also a lot of modern art is about mixing paint. So like having a specific color. There are many works that are just presenting a color red, and the way that the color is being presented, it's like a special mix of the paints. That would be a presentation of new knowledge. But of course, it's very narrow. It's not very wide-reaching knowledge. Not everybody is going to be using that red paint. So then you have a measure of how useful or relevant or whatever it is.
Okay, that sounds cool. That sounds useful.
If you want to see more serious conversations about aesthetics like this, then join one of the paid tiers of my Patreon. Scan the QR code on the screen, click join. That directly supports my work so we can more clearly understand the function of art and beauty, right? Because no one's really talking about this kind of stuff. No one's getting into these subjects. Everyone's kind of stuck in this sort of mystical, non-explanatory mode of thinking or engaging with art. Some people are like stuck in old traditions, or they're stuck in some sort of religious thing. We can go beyond that. Like all humans can understand everything. That means you and I. I mean, we can understand everything. And that includes understanding art. And we can understand it beyond what people have previously understood. We can go deeper and deeper and deeper. The more that you support directly contributes to a greater understanding of the nature of art. Join the Patreon.
Sometimes a movie has a lot of potential in that vein. Like, I don't know if you guys saw Gravity. It came out like 10 years ago. About a lone astronaut trying to get back to Earth.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
And it was so cool visually. And, I love space. So, of course, I was going to watch the movie. But then they kind of ruined the whole thing with all this religious mumbo jumbo that they threw in. Where kind of like at the end, the message of the movie was what brought her back home was her faith in God, not technology. I'm like, no, you idiots. That's exactly the opposite of what happened. That's why I feel conflicted about Christopher Nolan movies too, because he said this in interviews where he's like, he doesn't want people to analyze his movies rationally. He just wants them to feel things when they watch his movies.
And you don't like that? You don't like the subversion of any sort of analysis?
No, I don't like to, because usually it means like if somebody's asking you not to look into things too much, that's not a good sign. It usually means they have something to hide.
I don't know about that
Okay, tell us more.
because it could also be like in romantic relationship, for example, it's the implicit part where you don't have to analyze it. Some things, if you explain them, they kind of lose their meaning, like a joke. If you explain it, then it's not that funny anymore. In the same way, I think movies are something like that. Like there's an aspect of them that should just be enjoyed.
Well, but think of The Prestige. I mean, I don't know if Zach has seen it, but without spoiling anything, like basically at least half of the value that I get from that movie is of all the thoughts that I have about the movie after I see it, and all the things that I want to understand about the movie, and then watch it again and watch it again and watch it again to like connect all the dots. If I just watched it and only focused on my emotion, it'd be like that wouldn't even be half the value.
Yeah, I'm with you on two accounts here, Dennis. Like, I think it's fine to have a movie that's like focused on emotions or whatever, but I'd want it to be reliable such that I could watch it multiple times and have similar emotions, or I could have analyzed it and still have the emotions. But if it's so fragile that like knowing the cinematography breaks it, then it's not really it's not worth much.
Well put. There are those movies like Terrence Malick. He makes kind of trippy movies, and those you can't really. Or David Lynch is another example. There are certain David Lynch movies that actively defy analysis, and there it's really you're really not supposed to look into the thing too critically. Like Lost Highway comes to mind, Mulholland Drive comes to, although that one's a little easier to understand. But even there, kind of the whole fun of the thing is to do it anyway and try to connect the dots. To me, anyway.
You're going through circles and whatever, and that's a part of the fun. So it becomes even more interesting that you come to these like twists and turns. So it's kind of systematically not making sense.
Yeah, I always like a good twist. I'm guessing you've talked to. Wait, were you at Ratfest?
Yeah, give it talk there.
Oh, you were. I must have missed it. I'm sure you talked to Tom then, right?
Yeah, I talked to him.
Yeah, he's good people.
Yeah, definitely. I was greatly inspired by his talk. So he had a talk last year at Ratfest, which I saw and loved, and I very much enjoyed his talk this year at Ratfest.
Wonderism. is probably one of my favorite talks as well. I'd argue, I think wonder is it's a beautiful word.
All right, guys, it was fun talking. I'm gonna head out.
Sure, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's, Merry Christmas.
Bye.